1957 was the year that Sputnik launched. Who? Sputnik 1 was the first artificial Earth satellite launched by the then Soviet Union. While the shiny beach ball-sized sphere only lasted a few weeks in orbit, it caused everyone else to sit up and take notice, and effectively kicked off the space race, which put a human on the moon a little more than 10 years later. 1957 was also the year I was born, but modesty forbids. Here are some other major technology-related events that happened during our previous 66 orbits around the Sun. While the first rudimentary modern transistor came into being around 1949, the MOSFET came out of Bell Labs in 1959, although the concept of a field effect transistor dates back to the mid-1920s. They just didn't have the technology to build them then. Transistors are a device used to amplify or switch electrical signals and which replaced the vacuum tube. In a modern smartphone, there are billions, with a B, of transistors packed into the circuitry. Since a vacuum tube is typically around the size of a human thumb and is made of glass and metal, you can perhaps appreciate what a breakthrough transistors were. The microprocessor itself showed up in 1971. Thanks in large part to developing the technology to cram many tiny transistors onto silicon wafers. The first commercially available microprocessor was the Intel 4004, and is essentially a single chip that contains the logic, arithmetic, and control functions needed in a digital computer, which led to the first personal computer, the Altair 8800, a rudimentary device which was the granddaddy of things like the Commodore 64, the IBM PC, Apple Macintosh, and all the desktop and laptop computers we have today. GPS technology was first developed in the 1970s for the military, but it became available for civilian use in the 1990s. Using satellites in stationary orbits, it has revolutionized navigation and location-based services. It may be worth noting that while space exploration and military budgets can both be criticized for sucking up huge amounts of money, they can and do both provide benefits to the rest of us in the form of new technologies. The first commercial cellular network was launched in Japan by Nippon Telegraph and Telephone in 1979, initially in the metropolitan area of Tokyo, Japan. The first commercial digital cellular network, the 2G generation, was launched in 1991 and contributed to the wireless revolution of the 1990s. The compact disc, or CD, was introduced in 1982 and became a very popular medium for storing and playing music and other digital media, and also introduced us to the then unfamiliar concept of digital music. At the time, the CD was impressive not only for the fact that it was a digital method of high-fidelity music reproduction, but also that the dynamic range was noticeably superior to vinyl records. Vinyl records could be quite noisy, especially after repeated plays, whereas CDs offered silent silence and booming loud sections. The development of the lithium-ion battery in the 1980s made portable electronics possible, and revolutionized the energy storage industry. While battery technology is still being perfected and researched, the ability to power diverse products from laptop computers to lawnmowers to trucks is remarkable. Jumping ahead a bit, the first iPhone was introduced in 2007 by Apple and was the model for most of the smartphone devices that followed it, both from Apple and other manufacturers. In 2023, there are almost 7 billion smartphones in use, accounting for some 86% of the world's population. The smartphone is remarkable for how much technology it puts in your pocket, so to speak. A telephone, of course, a computer and the diverse software that comes with that, a radio, a camera, a camcorder, digital music player, and a GPS navigation device. There are lots of other things I could have mentioned here, like the internet, LCD panels, and 3D printing, but one of the most recent developments may end up being one of the most impactful and possibly disruptive. I refer, of course, to the newest generational artificial intelligence platforms, such as Stable Diffusion, ChatGPT, and others. The current race to the top in this area, or to the bottom depending how you think of it, is remarkable. Every major tech company, it seems, is falling over themselves to somehow integrate a ChatGPT-like piece into whatever they make. It's quite astonishing, and the speed of the uptake is a little disconcerting. I guess a lot of these technologies by their nature were disruptive, and looking back we have come a long way just in my lifetime, so I guess we'll see how things shake out. I think some of the unease about AI everywhere is having so much dystopian science fiction dealing with malevolent AIs exacting the revenge of mankind. So, hopefully we're not barreling towards a real-life Skynet. Thanks for watching, and check out the links below.